You're listening to the When Life Stops podcast, season 2, with your host, Daytola and Stella. We are both moms who have loved and lost, and we're so glad to have you listening.
Every week, you would hear more about our stories, some relatable interviews, as well as practical tips that you can apply to help you find new meaning after loss. Let's dive in.
Welcome to season 2, episode 12, the final episode in this season. Oh my goodness. Wow. Wow. You see, what an honor and privilege it has been to be your host on this amazing transformational podcast that brings you relevant and necessary conversations around moving forward after loss, irrespective of what kind of loss you have experienced. It's been such an honor, and I have so enjoyed this journey with my podcast co-host, the one and only Daytola. So yeah, it's been amazing.
Oh my days, Stella, what a journey we have been on. It has been amazing. You know, we started this episode not knowing how our listeners were going to receive us and what we have to offer. But man, we have been blown away by your receptiveness. Episode after episode, people have sent us private comments. People have, just shown us love. And guess what, guys? Guess what? Because of your support, because you've been listening to us, we now have over 2,000 downloads. Stella, over 2,000 downloads from various countries in the world. I am just blown away. I was looking at the stats, I was looking at the back end, and most of our listeners, I just want to give a shout out to all our listeners from the UK. We have most of our listeners are from the UK, and then next we have Canada. Isn't that amazing? Then we have the United States, Nigeria, yes, motherland.
Yep.
And I was pleasantly surprised when I found out that we have listeners from India.
Yeah.
And then from Brazil, from Russia. I'm like, ooh.
Yeah.
And then we have a few people from Australia, Ireland, and the Philippines. I'm just so blown away. I am blown away.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you guys. We see you.
Yeah.
We hear you, and we really appreciate all the feedback and all the comments and all the messages that you've been sending us, and for sharing our podcast.
Yes.
We see you. We thank you.
Thank you, guys. We love you for listening to us. Thank you so much. So I think in this episode, as we round up, we just want to go over some of the highlights from this season. And I want to start off with just, applauding Stella and myself. We need to give ourselves some accolades because it's been an interesting ride. I mean, if you think about it, Stella, for the first season, it was a bit more, even though we were in the lockdown, we were still able to walk around it because we didn't have so much going on per se. I don't know how to describe it. We had so much, but because it was quiet. But with season 2, we've gone back to work full time. Kids are back to school. And so we've found ways to just make it work for us to record these episodes.
Yeah.
Early morning sessions, children waking up in the middle of sessions, and all of those amazing things.
and the issues with Zoom. Having to deal with all of that. I mean, it was an interesting experience.
It was.
Our podcasting muscle was stretched.
Yes, it was. Totally.
And honestly, were you not blown away by how impactful the interviews were, even as we interviewed? I mean, some of them I could literally feel the presence of God in the house. It's been an experience, honestly, and like I said, a transforming experience.
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally. For us
Yeah.
and for our listeners.
Yes. And the reason why is because there's so many conversations that we've been able to have that
Yes.
you would not ordinarily have in, let me say, Christian settings. They will not be openly had. They will not be as raw and real, and uncensored, So
totally.
that is one of the things that has made this episode, this season, really, really impactful, is because these are conversations that need to be had, and we are having them, regardless of, how uncomfortable or, painful they might be to some, but they need to be had, and we've had them. So well done. Well done.
Well done.
And thank you,
both
Jesus.
Yes, thank God for seeing us through. Like you said, it's conversations that people are thinking about in their heads, not saying it out loud. So it's like we're bringing context and language to some of the things people are thinking of. So it's been an interesting journey.
So let's give a shout out to all our guests that we've had.
Oh my days.
It's been, oh my goodness, it's been amazing. We called and they answered. They had to work around our own schedule, early morning recordings,
And they were so gracious, so gracious.
So gracious.
So a big shout out. We're going to go through each episode anyway, but we just want to give a general big shout out and a thank you to our guests for just being amazing and for sharing authentically with us. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, so let's just go. Let's just go through it. The highlights in season 2. I feel like we should have drum rolls.
Yeah.
We started off, with live post lockdown, and we told you a little bit about our journeys. What we had been up to, what we had been through. We had experienced some losses, and we had some major wins as well. We talked about our books. We talked about, our foundation. We shared a lot. So if you really didn't listen to episode, 1, and you're quite curious about these ladies who are coming on here and talking every week, please go back and listen to it. It'll give you a little insight into our journeys, and what we're about. So go check it out.
Go check it out, guys. Go check it out. Stella, before we, move on from there, I mean, of course, we've had a few weeks, months since we recorded our first episode. So would you say you've gone through any other losses in that time or wins in that period?
Well, losses, I don't think I have encountered any major losses in that time. Communal losses, we've lost, people in, some people in let's say the Christian faith that we all have like a general kind of loss for.
Gotcha.
But I haven't experienced any communal, any personal loss. There have been significant areas of growth in my life, in the last couple of months. And life as it's, life has happened, in all the glory of it. So How about you?
I think similar as well. Similar in that even though I've not had any personal losses per se, I have been affected by, losses, or I've felt, touched by the losses of a few people in maybe in just the general Christian community. And, and that happens sometimes where you might not know someone, but then you're still impacted by their loss. Do you get what I mean?
Yeah. And a universal kind of loss.
Loss, exactly. And I've grown. I've definitely grown. I've been stretched on all sides.
Yeah.
A lot more is going on with my work. Yeah, but otherwise, it's been an interesting ride. It has been interesting. I can only give thanks to God. Yeah.
Yeah, we thank God. Someone actually asked yesterday to define and sum my year in one word. And stretching was the word I used.
I like that.
Stretching. It's been a stretching year. The year has demanded, me to become and me
a new
to
version.
Do. Yes.
A new version of Stella. Love it.
But yeah, God's grace is sufficient. We ride on his grace, and his faithfulness, regardless of the season, regardless of the turns. God is good. God is faithful. So that's our stance. So we looked at moving forward after a business fails. That was our second episode.
Yes.
And that was our first guest.
Yeah.
We had our first guest. I got to meet the lovely Talks.
Yeah,
Arutare. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. It was like a masterclass on, business and failure, and reinventing yourself and moving on, and it was just so instructive. So instructive.
Yeah, I think what stood out for me with Talks, I mean, Talks is my mentor, so I've heard her tell me this story a number of times, but it was as if I was hearing it for the first time, because she's such an amazing storyteller. And I think it's just her resilience through it all, and her mindset, knowing that this isn't the end. Even though even though I'm on the ground, I can get up again. And I can build something better. So that really stood out for me. Like, even though you may fall 7 times, you can always rise up again. Yeah. And when we have that mindset of hope, there is nothing we can't do, even when we fall or we fail. Yeah. We can learn from it and move forward. So that really stood out for me.
Yeah. That was a pretty amazing interview. And she talked about, the power of journaling as well, how being able to log down your thoughts and walk through them to arrive at an outcome, how that has been significant for her in her journey. Yeah. So, I want to encourage all the business owners, entrepreneurs, even if you're not, you want to learn from someone who is succeeding in her business, but experience a major fail. You go and listen to that episode, and it will do you much good. So
yeah. So that was our first guest episode, and then we had my days, the amazing Opera Malamo, who shared her heartbreaking, but heartbreaking yet authentic story about losing her parents at a very young age. She was 6 when she lost her dad and 11 when she lost her mom. And Okwe basically walked us through the journey of how the loss impacted her, how it disrupted her world, how she had to be moved from, she had to stay with relatives and then moved from Nigeria to the UK. She just kind of walked us through all of that. And, it was, as she was talking during the episode, I could almost picture each scene in my mind, and how, the emotion she felt as a child, and even the impact it's had on her as an adult, as a parent. It was just amazing. And she shared, how through her story, she shared how we can begin to help children deal with any type of loss. Right? What did you think, Stella?
Yeah, I thought it was a very raw and very, very honest interview, where she shared openly her journey through that experience, and how she's grown and changed through it. And one of the most inspiring things for me was the fact that, her mom's 20-something anniversary had just passed, and she didn't even remember not remember,
Yeah.
the pain was no
Yes.
longer there, and that is something that a lot of people usually say, this pain, will it ever go?
Yeah.
Will I ever get to that point where I don't feel that pain of loss? And in her story, she shared and showed us that it's possible to heal, to get to that point where you have healed from the pain of losing a loved one. So it was just so encouraging to hear her share that. Yeah.
So we definitely encourage you, our listeners, if you haven't listened to that episode, and this is not about, I haven't lost a parent, so it's not relevant. It is, because you might be, there might be a child in your world who needs your support. So knowing and hearing from someone who's been through this journey would give you some more awareness, right? And interestingly, her episode was one of our top, one of our top listened to episodes. So it was definitely a good one. So you need to listen to that. And I think off the back of that, the following week, we now went on to do an extensive episode on helping children deal with loss. And it was quite educative. We kind of shared, because people don't realize that children also grieve, and that children go through loss and we shared different kind of losses children can experience at a very young age, from losing their grandparents to moving house or moving school, or pet loss, losing a friend leaves their school, or they leave to a new school, all of those things. And we kind of broke it down onto how we can help children deal with any type of emotional loss, right from losing a teddy bear or losing a pen or whatever it is. Yeah. What were your thoughts, Stella?
Yeah, I think for me that was the most impactful interview for me as a parent, because it's so crucial when we're raising children to be aware of the emotions that our children come to us with, and not having the right language, not having the right, knowledge on how to help them navigate this somewhat confusing emotions. That's what usually impairs their ability to deal with grief and loss as they grow. We talked about what we heard when we were growing up. It felt like a taboo, to ask questions when someone died. It was like, no, don't mention the subject of death and dying. As children, it kind of made us feel like, okay, this is like a subject that you don't talk about, but we are in a society now where children are more aware and they have questions. So how do we help them? How do we help them even come to grips with their own emotions? Especially when you're raising sons, who've been conditioned to, tell them not to express their emotions, but those emotions are healthy. So that, I mean, honestly, this episode was so helpful for me as a mom who has a son, and it kind of gave me an understanding of what to look out for, how to have these difficult conversations, how to approach the subject of death, loss, so that children do not grow up with this fear at the back of their minds, and when they eventually experience some form of loss, they become handicapped.
That's it.
So if you're a parent and you've never had this conversation, or your child has asked you something about maybe grandma died, maybe this one died, and you shoot them up, and you've kind of not given them an answer, or the right answer, because you probably don't know how, or probably because you were not taught to, this episode will educate you. It will so educate you. I mean, I've listened to it a couple of times and I'm like, wow, what a conversation.
I know.
It was so insightful, so educative. It will equip you, to identify the signs, to know what the right thing to say is, even when they come to you with their experiences in school, like, this one said this to me, I lost this, I lost that, and the kind of things we do to replace the loss, to minimize it. In short, there's a lot. Go and listen to it. I'm not going to give you a lecture.
Totally. There was a lot in that episode.
Yeah, there was a lot, and moving on from there, we had, oh my goodness, another amazing amazing guest. We had Kemi Faloye, and oh my goodness, if you've heard Kemi's story, Kemi is an amazing woman, and she has experienced over 13 miscarriages, and we had the pleasure of interviewing her, and we're talking about moving forward after several miscarriages. And she shared her story. She shared how she overcame fear, all the emotions, things people said to her that were unhelpful, and all of that, it was just so beautiful to hear her share her story, which is now a testimony.
Yes.
So yeah. So Detola, tell me, what did you think?
Oh my gosh. I think one thing I liked about that episode, and one thing I liked about what Kemi did, was she walked us through the journey of her pain. Because sometimes when you've reached the other side, it's so easy to gloss over what happened and say, oh, praise Jesus, I'm fine now.
Yeah.
But she walked us through the pain. So even though she's healed from the pain, we were able to feel her pain when even though we were hearing it later on, I could almost feel that pain because she described it so vividly. So I'm so grateful for her, for walking us through that journey. And a number of people, did reach out to just say, oh my goodness, I can relate. There were some comments on I think the post we put out on Instagram, just saying, wow. And interestingly, one person reached out to me, because sometimes we just get, text messages, or we get WhatsApp messages. And the person said, oh, wow, what a woman of God. 14, was it 14 or 13 miscarriages?
I think it was 14 eventually. Yeah.
Yes. 14 miscarriages. That's a lot. People are going through a lot. And then the person goes on to say, it is making me reflect about not giving people shallow answers or Christianese when they come for counseling, right? Because remember when she talked about not even knowing, nobody really giving her answers, but it was the one, I think her pastor's wife, if I remember correctly now, even though didn't know what to say, linked her up with someone who had been through similar. And so that just goes to show that when we go through pain, it's not just for us. Someone else needs to hear our story. And I'm so grateful that Kemi has written a book about her journey. And the second one is coming out soon. So if you've ever been through a miscarriage, or you have a friend who has been through a miscarriage, or anyone who's been through a miscarriage, please go listen to this episode and then go get Kemi's book. Her details are in the show notes of that episode. It was just an amazing episode. So thank you again, Kemi, for being so for just sharing authentically and honestly with us in your episode.
Yeah, awesome. And then we tried to be celebs, you see. We had a celeb interview. Well, not really, but we
nearly there.
But we did have a celebrity in this season, so I mean, we're there. We're there. So we also reacted to Banky W and Adeswa's final safe faith testimony, and that was interesting.
It was. I loved that episode. I was re-listening to it and I was laughing. Like, I was like, oh my gosh. It was just amazing. And, they are just such an amazing couple. In fact, Stella, have you seen their latest video? I'm going to send it to you. I say, hey,
I have seen it though. I've seen it though. My dear sister, we are just here.
Do you know? I said to my friend, I said, why are these people tensioning us? For those who are not Nigerians, like, I don't even know what's the English for tensioning?
Why are they putting us under pressure?
Oh, as in, I said, some of us,
we go love.
I was like, I said, these people, why are you putting us so, under so much pressure? Some of us, our husbands are out of the country. We are waiting for them to come back home. Maybe we can try to do some dance steps.
We can do salsa.
Yeah, but it was such an amazing video. And I think it's one of the highest viewed videos since it came out. But back to the episode. Just listening to their testimony. And go listen to it. We're not going to repeat it here, but listening to their testimony about their journey of waiting, miscarriage, IVF, listening to God, it was insightful. I was like, you could write a whole sermon out of it.
Yeah, there's a lot to learn. So yeah, go listen to it, guys.
Go listen to it. That's all we're going to say. Go listen to it. Then, oh my days, I think this next episode, moving forward after the death of his spouse, in part, it struck a chord with me. This was the one episode that just, it just, I don't know, it did something to me because I literally cried on that episode. And when I was listening back to it, I could hear myself sniffing on the episode. I'm like, oh my God. It wrecked me in a good way. I don't know how to explain it, but I think Snatcher is such an amazing, man of God. He was able to walk us through the journey of losing a spouse and even still draw out key lessons of life, of purpose, of, being a single, not single, what's the word? Raising his kids by himself.
Yeah.
I don't know. It just did something to me. Yeah, that episode did. And in fact, it's one of our, I think, second highest listened to episode. So first, I want to just say thank you, Snatcher, for he shook some tables, he scattered some tables. And again, I know I'm using Nigerian lingo a lot. We basically just, changed, gave us a paradigm shift around death, around loss, and he wrecked me. That's all I can say.
Yeah, it was pretty good, and I think for me, having known Jennifer Snatcher's late wife very closely, it was just such a joy to listen to his journey, and I was just so thankful for the evident help and grace of God upon his life. And it was very honest. Snatcher is always honest.
Yeah.
He doesn't gloss his journey, and for anyone who listens to it, you will hear the pain, but you will hear the joy. You will experience what it feels like for God to walk with you through the shadows of the darkness through the shadows of death. You would know what it feels like. When God says, I will be with you even when you go through waters. That's what Snatcher was sharing about his experience of God upholding him, strengthening him, and seeing him through, because that's what God is doing. God is seeing him through. So go listen to it, guys. I mean, it was good.
It was good. It was good. And looking at the stats showing us that it was one of the top downloaded episodes just shows me again that people want to talk about these things.
Yeah.
or they want to hear more about these things. Because when I sent it to, I sent it to a number of people on WhatsApp, they were like, "Oh, I'm forwarding this on to someone who needs this. Oh, thank you for sending me this episode. Oh, wow, thank you." A few people came back with their what's the word? Their disagreements about some of these theological views. I'm like, oh well, that's again, you need to go listen to know what I'm talking about. Well, I'm like, yeah, that it is what it is. When you are on this journey of pain, you get to know God for yourself. So it's not just something you read out of a textbook or something out of the Bible, which people have maybe interpreted in a certain way. You get your own interpretation from the Holy Spirit. So again, go listen to it and you might go, ooh, what did he mean by that? So, yeah, it was very insightful. Very insightful. Right. So our next guest, Carol Henderson, my amazing boss in the, should I call her my boss? In some way, she is my boss, but she's also my trainer from the Grief Recovery Specialist. Oh, I was laughing throughout Carol. I mean, after listening, when I was listening back, Carol was such an amazing woman. And she laid down the law for us on that episode.
She did. It was so good. There was so many nuggets, so many truths, know. And one of the things that she talked about in regards to losing her spouse was that there were many more years ahead of her.
Yes.
That she could spend living her life than what she had already experienced.
Yeah.
And so would she rather
just
not
exist.
Just exist? Would she rather not move forward? And it just brought put things into perspective. There is so much more ahead of you than what you have lost.
Yeah,
so much more,
totally.
so much more ahead of you than what you have lost. And if you're a person of faith, God is able to restore. God is able to to compensate you for your losses, and so her interview was just packed full.
It was so packed.
I mean, it was, listen to it, you will understand. It was just it was
and I
good.
like how she was able to walk us through the journey of meeting her first husband when he died, and then meeting her second husband. Oh my God, that was like a romantic novel. Like, oh, I'm going for that guy. I know what I want.
She practically shot her shot.
So like, I'm getting in there before anyone even does. Like, do you know how long I've waited?
Leading to his DM. So good. I
like the part. I just wanted to quote her quickly where she said she met her new. And I'll try not to give a lot of spoilers, but this one where she said she had her now husband speak at that networking event, and she's like, "Ooh, I love to listen to that all day long." I'm like, yeah. That was amazing. So you should go listen to it. I don't want to spoil it for you, so go listen to that episode.
Yeah. And then I think, was this our most listened to? Oh my goodness.
My days. It was our most listened to.
We had the
close
amazing
to 200 downloads.
Wow. We had the amazing Shubi Labinjor on the podcast. And she was sharing with us moving forward after a separation, and it was just so juicy.
Oh, gosh.
That's the word. It was juicy. And she shared, what she experienced, the reactions from people, what she had to deal with personally, where she is at currently, and what she's looking forward to in the future. I mean, she took us through. She took us through. It was rich. It was juicy. It was, in short, if you love to hear a good story, go listen to it.
Yeah.
Go listen to it.
Go listen to it. And I just love the fact that a number of people, after listening to the episode, were just coming out and saying, "Thank you, Shubi." She sent me some few comments from, mentioned a few comments to me from people who are just like, "Thank you. Thank you for sharing your story. Because again, I don't know how many times I don't know if she shared her story publicly before. I don't know if, do you see what I mean? But the fact that people who might have been in that space of being in an abusive relationship and wondering what to do, Shubi was able to share her story and her process of how she got to where she is now, and also the impact on her children, and how she was so gracious through it all. Not once did she, what's the word now, label or make her ex look bad, do you see what I mean, like name calling or anything like that. It was her side of the story, and she graciously shared her story. No, it was amazing. Just go listen. That's all I'm going to say. Go listen to that episode.
It was so good. So good. So good. So thank you, Shubi.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You were amazing. And this was the first time I was meeting Shubi. We're now Instagram friends and follow each other.
Amazing. Yeah. And then we had a healthcare professional come speak to us about the impact of grief on our mental health. And we had the amazing Toyin Akinfolarin. Oh my goodness, that episode. I think I remember telling you, Detola, I'm like, this so good, this conversation.
So
it
good.
Was, if there's so many, the episodes this season have been so insightful, but every episode is like a class, in a class on its own. And this particular episode, I mean, if you really listen to it, it's education. It's a whole lecture. It's a
I learned so much.
A whole lecture. One of the things that I really enjoyed was how she took us through practical things that we could do. Practical things that we could do, like for instance, take your time and grieve your loss individually, embracing your grief, embracing the process, and she really talked about not isolating, which we really echoed. Because that's one thing that we've been harping about in our seasons. Don't isolate yourself. There is help available. There are people who have experienced what you've experienced and are there to support you. So she really kind of highlighted most of the things that we've been talking about all through our episodes. So please go listen to it. This will equip you, educate you. In short, it will help you.
It will totally help you. It was really so, I mean, I'm echoing what you just said, but it was really educative. And I loved how she explained, the danger of saying to people to bounce back. I'm not going to share what she shared. You need to go listen to it. But that was so, I'm like, I never saw it from that light before. Like, tell people to bounce back. She broke it down. And I think the fact that she was able to show us that grief has such a great and significant impact on our mental health, which people don't tend to see the connection. They're connected when you're grieving and you don't, work on resolving that grief, it can impact your mental well-being. So go listen to the episode. It's going to educate you.
So good. It was so good. She even explained what mental health means. Something that we don't even think about. What is and what does that mean to have a good mental health? So it was so good. So good.
Yeah. So thank you so much, Toyin Akinfolarin, for just coming to educate us on our podcast. And just last week we had the semi-final episode, because this is the final one, where Stella and I, we didn't have any guests, but Stella and I had such an impactful conversation on dealing with grief in the workplace. And we shared our stories of how our colleagues, and even just our emotions when we went back to work after we lost, after our individual losses, the loss of our precious babies. And I was just, when I was listening to that, I just thought, oh my goodness, wow, if you knew better at that time, we would have done better. But hey, we're here now, we grow, we learn. So, and that's why part of why we're having this discussions on, grief and loss. I mean, we spoke about how our organizations can create a healthy culture of grief in the workplace. Colleagues, what can your colleagues say and not say? You need to go listen to the episode to get all of that download. And how you as the griever still also needs to take responsibility for your own healing. I think it was just an amazing episode, right? Stella, what did you think?
Yeah. It was really, really educative and informative. And I think a lot of people reached out to me to say, this has really helped me, because I have a colleague who's just lost someone and I feel awkward around them. Yeah. I don't know what to say, what to do, and it's just showing us that there is a lot of information out there that can help us live life in such a way that we're aware of the pain, that people are going through. Yeah. And so it was so good, and I'm glad that a lot of our listeners are not only just listening, but they're able to apply some of the principles that we are teaching, sharing, educating and informing you about, so that you can have better relationships. You can help people and help yourself in relation to the subject of loss, death, dying, grief, etc. So you can call us the grief experts. You can call us the teachers. Yeah. But that's why we are here, to equip you and help you so that you can navigate this, experience of life. Yeah.
Definitely. So go listen to that episode, dealing with grief in the workplace. I mean, think about it. If you're an adult and you have a job or you work, you spend at least 1/3 of your day at work or doing work stuff. So it's very, very key that you are able to fortify yourself in the workplace if you've experienced any type of loss, and that you know what to do, even if your organization isn't in that place to help you yet. You can, so for example, there are the people who have gone through loss and they don't know what to do, but they've spoken to their managers and saying, I need help, and they've worked with their managers to get to a point where they're seeking help, and their managers or their organization wants to support them. So you don't need to wait for your organization to try and say, signpost you. They should, but if they don't, you can say,
walk up to them.
These are some of the resources I found, and these are some of the things I believe can help me, and see how they can support you, whether financially, to get the help that you need. So at the end of the day, it's still your responsibility to find healing or find resources that can help. So go listen to that episode.
Yeah, so good, so good. And one thing we echo all through our seasons is the fact that time does not heal. Healing does. Time does not heal.
Steps.
Yeah, but healing does. So what you do, what you do to guarantee your healing, to kickstart your healing, to continue your healing, is what will guarantee how you move forward after a loss.
Definitely. So definitely. Oh my days. So season 2 has been amazing. I have loved recording every single episode. I have loved listening to every single guest. They have been amazing. And I also, again, I want to give a shout out to people who have shared our podcast with those going through loss. We've got feedback from people who have said, friends or whoever has sent them, our podcast, and they have listened to it just to help them. We've had people who, as a result of listening to the podcast, have come back to say, I need further help. Stella, please help me. I know just listening to you has put some context and some language to what I've been experiencing, and I haven't known what to do with this. So the fact, I love that our listeners are taking action. And we also know we have silent listeners. Well, that's fine. As long as you're doing something with the action steps, then our job is done. So thank you so much.
Awesome. Yeah, and we also just want to say thank you to our guy Adrian.
Yes,
Adrian is an amazing young man, Irish young man. Yes. Who's been helping us, edit our podcast and make it nice and fancy for you all. And Adrian, you've been such a blessing to us, and we thought we'll give you a shout out in our podcast. So thank you so much for all your help. Thank you, to everyone who has approached us to say they want to be part of this, they want to partner with us, they want to help us. We thank you, and we're going to be giving you an opportunity to do so shortly. And Detola is going to be giving us all the details, of how you can help us. You guys have asked, and we have answered. So many of you have said, we see the amazing work you're doing. We want to support you. We want to partner with you. So Detola is going to be telling us how you can support us. So
Thank you, Stella. So before I do that, I want to go back to giving Adrian a shout out, because particularly for one reason, because he isn't just editing our podcast, he's also listening. And I love listening. Oh my God, this episode, and he'll share his insights and he learns. Because, and the reason why I'm bringing it up is because I know some people say when they are in their work mode, they don't tend to listen. They just do the work, like I'm here to edit. But he would still takes time to listen and give his feedback on each episode and what he took away from it. So that has always blessed me. So thank you so much.
He's part of our team. He's he's in the when life stops team, So exactly. He takes personal ownership.
That's it. Exactly. And sometimes he's like, ladies, you need to do more work with this and that. I'm like, yes, boss.
Your sound is not great, ladies. Oh, thank you,
Adrian, for being amazing. So yes, guys, we're coming to this segment where, and so the truth is, guys, we love doing what we're doing. We love doing these episodes for you, because I believe, and I know that Stella believes, that this is part of her mandate now on this earth, sharing around this subject. And your support so far has helped us, but we need to move it to the next level. Season 3, is going to be coming out soon. We'll let you know when. We'll take time to record our episodes. But off the back of all of what we do, we are both dedicated to bringing you quality episodes. And a lot of what goes behind the scene, I'm not even going to bore you with that. A lot of what goes behind the scene to produce all these episodes, right? Not a lot of people are having these conversations. Not a lot of people are talking about it. But we know that it's, like I said, it's part of our mandate. And so for us to be able to continue doing this amazing work, I mean, we've been self-funded. We've self-funded season 1. But the thing is, there are costs to these things. There's editing costs, there's the platform costs. We have a number of costs. And since a number of you have reached out to say, oh, we want to support, how can we help? We are now publicly asking for your financial support to help us cover a number of our costs. And our costs are not cheap. Our guy Adrian is a professional editor, and I'm sure he has a very grand title. It takes time to edit these videos, and so we need to be able to pay all of this type of cost. And this is where we need your help to help us continue producing quality content with clear sound that will continue to educate, uplift, and support those who have experienced loss. So if you believe in what we're doing, if you think our message is impactful, I know you do because of the comments you've been sending us, we are asking you to please come and support us so that we can, produce more content for you guys and for those who need it. And obviously, we both have this dream of turning it into TV. What's it now? A show,
a TV show someday.
Right? And we need money for these things. So we're not even going to we're not going to sugarcoat these things. If you go to the show notes, you're going to find a link to a GoFundMe account. I mean, we're not a charity or anything yet, so we're just going to do a GoFundMe, and we're going to just do a GoFundMe account where you can donate any amount of your choice. No amount is too small to support us. No amount is too little. And off the back of what I always hear them say on Premier Praise, if you want to continue to hear the sound or get great music, then please donate. If not, you're just going to hear nothing. And we don't want that. We want to be able to continue to produce more content and bring more amazing episodes. So I know that I've gone round and round and round, but the bottom line is go click that GoFundMe link right in the show notes and support us. No amount is too small and no amount is too big. And if you want to sponsor a season, you want us to give us shout outs about what you are doing, please reach out to us and we'll see, if it's a great fit for and in alignment with our values and all of those amazing things. Why not? We'd love to partner with you guys. So that's it. We'll keep it short and simple, but go click that link.
Awesome. Thanks, Detola. Thank you, guys. Thank you for your anticipated support. And we are so thankful for the journey.
Yeah.
And it's at this juncture, that we say we have come to the end of season 2. Hallelujah. What a ride it's been. We want to thank you, our listeners. Please go back and listen to all our seasons, season 1, season 2, all the episodes. Go back and listen to it and get in touch with us and tell us how it's helping you. And we look forward to seeing you in season 3.
Yes.
So remember, click the link, send us your comments, like, share, subscribe, and you too, we know, can find the grace, the courage to move forward after a loss.
Yes, awesome. Thank you, guys. You've been amazing. If you thought season 2 was great, if you thought season 1 was good, you're in for an amazing treat for season 3. So we're going to go back into our drawing room, our boardroom. We've got feedback from you, guys and ladies, and so we're going to be able to give you more content, give you more provocative content that will get you thinking and get you moving and get you taking action. Please continue to pray for us. If you're a person of faith, we indulge your prayers. We cannot do this by ourselves alone. We need the help of God. We need the help of the Holy Spirit. So please pray for us. So thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen from all over the world who have been listening to us. We love you for listening to us.
Love you.
We'll leave you now, but we'll be back very soon. God bless you.
Yes. Watch this space. God bless you.